My daughter's teacher was secretly bullying her, so I set up a trap. For weeks, my 8-year-old came home crying, saying she hated school. She'd always loved it before, so I knew something was wrong. One day, she begged me not to make her go back. That's when she told me her teacher was making her eat lunch alone in the classroom while other kids played outside. Why? Because she was too slow at math. I was furious, but I needed proof. So I bought a small voice recorder and put it in her backpack. That afternoon, I listened to the recording and my blood ran cold. The teacher was awful. She'd mock my daughter in front of everyone, saying things like, "Maybe if you weren't so stupid, you'd have friends." My heart shattered hearing my baby cry. I took the recording straight to the principal. His face changed as he listened. He called the superintendent immediately. Within an hour, they had that teacher in his office. She tried denying everything until they played the tape. Then she broke down, admitting she'd been doing this to struggling students for years to motivate them. They fired her that day. She lost her teaching license too. But the best part? My daughter's new teacher discovered she wasn't slow at math at all. She had undiagnosed dyslexia. Last week, I watched her present a math problem to her whole class. She was smiling so bright, and when she finished, everyone cheered. That's the moment I knew we'd won.
I donated my kidney to my husband, and this is how he thanked me. I donated my kidney to my husband after his failed from polycystic kidney disease. The recovery was brutal. 3 months of pain, fatigue, and feeling like I'd never be normal again. But seeing him healthy made it worth it. Then I found the life insurance policy. He'd taken it out on me 2 weeks before the surgery. $2 million payout, triple if I died during a medical procedure. The policy was hidden in a folder marked wedding photos. At first, I thought I was paranoid, but then I remembered how he'd pushed me to use his friend's surgeon instead of the hospital's, how he'd gotten angry when I wanted a second opinion, the way he'd insisted I change my mind when I almost backed out. The final straw? I overheard him on the phone with his brother. If something had gone wrong, we'd be set for life. I didn't confront him. Instead, I took the policy to my lawyer. Turns out, taking out secret life insurance before pushing someone into major surgery raises a lot of legal red flags. He's living with his brother now. The insurance fraud investigation is ongoing. And me, I'm healing. Not just from surgery, but from realizing the man I trusted with my life was betting on my death. The worst part? His friend, the surgeon he pushed so hard for, just lost his medical license for a string of accidental deaths during routine procedures. Each patient had a recent life insurance policy. Each beneficiary was connected to my husband. I thought I married a man who needed my kidney. Instead, I married a man who needed an alibi. People who have witnessed a murder, what happened? I used to work night security at Pinewood Hospital in the psych ward. One night, a new patient arrived, a 17-year-old girl named Maya. She was different from our usual patients. Quiet, talented, the kind of person who makes you wonder why life can be so unfair. Her parents looked defeated when they brought her in. I overheard her mom telling the intake nurse she was top of her class, full scholarship to art school. Then the voices started. Maya would sit for hours in the common room, drawing these incredibly detailed birds in her sketchbook. Not just any birds, ones breaking free from cages, flying through storms, finding light. Her hands would shake sometimes, but the art was still beautiful. Dr. Reynolds was assigned to her case. Everyone called him the miracle worker. Young, charming, with that perfect smile that administration loved. His patients improved faster than anyone else's. That's all they cared about. But I noticed something. He'd write prescriptions without checking charts, increase dosages when patients complained of side effects. He'd dismiss concerns with a wave of his hand. And strangely, the nurses who questioned him suddenly worked different floors. On my third night shift, I walked past Maya's room. The door was cracked open, and I couldn't help but pause. "The medicine makes my heart race," I heard her say, voice shaking. "It feels wrong, like something's crushing my chest." Reynolds didn't even look up from his phone. "I'm the doctor here, not you. Trust the process." That's when someone tapped my shoulder. It was Gloria, the older nurse who'd worked there for 20 years. "He put her on 3 different medications," she whispered, eyes darting around to make sure no one heard. "It's dangerous. These drugs should never be combined. The pharmacy system would have flagged it, but he must have overridden the warnings." I checked on Maya during my regular rounds. Her breathing seemed off, too shallow, too quick. Her skin looked almost gray. When I mentioned it to the night nurse, she just shrugged. Reynolds doesn't like questions. Last nurse who complained got transferred to geriatrics. That night, I kept walking by her room more often than my rounds required. Something felt wrong. Her face looked swollen, and her heart rate monitor was showing numbers that seemed too high. At 2:17 a.m., I was at my desk when Gloria rushed past. "Get the crash cart to 214, she yelled. I sprinted after her. When I reached Maya's room, monitors were blaring. Maya was having violent seizures. Her back arched off the bed at an impossible angle, eyes rolled back. Reynolds arrived minutes later looking annoyed, like he was inconvenienced by being called in the middle of the night. "What happened?" he demanded. "Her body is rejecting the medication combination," Gloria said, checking the digital chart. "I told you these drugs interact. I know what I'm doing," he snapped. "Just get her stabilized." The medical team worked for hours. By sunrise, they were still trying everything, but I could see in their faces. It was already too late. What happened to Maya still haunts me every single night. By afternoon, Maya was gone. Just like that, a talented, beautiful life erased. The hospital called it an unexpected medication reaction. Reynolds told her devastated parents it was incredibly rare and couldn't have been predicted. Gloria and I met Maya's parents at a diner. We showed them the medication chart, explained what Reynolds had done, how the hospital was covering it up. The lawsuit never made it to court. The hospital settled for $12 million. Reynolds lost his medical license. Maya had dreamed of becoming an art therapist. Her parents used that money to create Maya's Wings, art therapy centers for kids with mental illness. They hung her bird drawings on every wall. In the main hallway hangs that final drawing, the bird finally free.
Have you ever hated your own child? I never thought I would, until I discovered what my son was doing to pay for his little sister's cancer treatment. Emma was only 6 when she was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. The bills were crushing us, $15,000 a month, even with insurance. I worked 3 jobs: warehouse, gas station, weekend construction. My wife cleaned offices after her grocery store shift. We were drowning. My 16-year-old son, Jake, had always been responsible. Honor roll, varsity baseball, never any trouble. But after Emma's diagnosis, he started acting strange. He came home with expensive gifts for Emma: American Girl dolls, Nintendo games, bags of her favorite organic gummy bears. When I asked where he got the money, he mumbled something about odd jobs for neighbors, mowing lawns, walking dogs. I wanted to believe him. We needed any help we could get. The gifts kept coming. A $200 tablet so Emma could watch movies during chemo. Designer pajamas to replace the gowns she hated. A stuffed elephant that cost more than groceries. I got suspicious, but Emma's smile when she got those gifts, that was her only light. Then her treatment got worse. Standard chemo wasn't working. Her doctor recommended an experimental drug. $50,000 up front. Insurance wouldn't cover it. I spent 3 days calling every charity, foundation, begging for help. Nothing. At 2 a.m., I sat at the kitchen table, calculator in hand, figuring out if we could get a second mortgage, when Jake walked in. His eyes were red. He handed me a manila envelope. For Emma's treatment. I opened it. Stacks of cash. All of it. $50,000. Where the hell did you get this? I demanded. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Does it matter? Emma needs it. It matters to me. Jake, where did this money come from? He stood there, tears falling. I can't tell you. The next day I followed him, called in sick, watched as he walked past the buses and student lot. A black Mercedes pulled up. The driver looked 40, in a tailored suit. Jake got in. I froze. 3 hours later, the same car dropped him at a downtown coffee shop. Jake walked out looking destroyed, stuffing something into his backpack. Cash. That night I confronted him. He broke down, sobbing like a 6-year-old. They pay me $2,000 to hang out, he whispered. Go to dinner, talk about school, pretend I'm their nephew or something. Sometimes more for... He couldn't finish. How long? Since Emma got sick. I found them online. There's this whole network. Rich guys who pay for company. I told them I was 18. His voice cracked. I'm saving Emma's life, Dad. That's what matters. I wanted to kill those men. Go to every place and tear them apart. I wanted to shake my son until he understood how wrong this was. But mostly I hated myself for being so desperate, so helpless, that my son felt he had to sacrifice himself. When I told him we'd find another way, that we'd figure something out, he looked at me with such anger. There is no other way, he said. I've watched you and Mom work yourselves to death for months. I've seen the bills you hide from Emma. I've heard you crying in the bathroom when you think no one's listening. And if Emma dies because you stopped me from saving her, I'll never forgive you. That hit me like a physical blow, because he was right. We had no relatives, no miracle fundraiser, no insurance appeal. Just my 16-year-old son selling himself to strangers so his sister could live. I'm in the police station parking lot. I turned in names, license plates, everything I could remember. The detective said they've been tracking the network for months. My son's testimony could help shut it down, but I didn't turn in the money. It's in our bank account. Emma starts her first experimental treatment tomorrow. The doctor says her chances jumped from 30% to 80% with this drug, and I hate that I'm grateful. I hate that I'm proud of Jake for being willing to give everything for his sister. I hate that I failed so badly as a father that my child had to make this choice. Most of all, I hate that if Emma survives, it's because of what those men did to my son. How do you live with that?